No, just for Sam, because she had to miss today, and she is awesome and wanted me to review it. So, hi, Sam.
What's up, Sam?
I hope this
Sam.
works, and
Hi,
I don't
Sam.
just, yep, see, everyone misses
Hey,
you.
Sam.
So, here we go. I'm going to start backwards just because the people last week, we started at the first page. So, anyways, you know, just change it up, start at the end. Okay, it says, given this equation, identify the center and the radius. Okay, what is this? Do y'all remember?
Nope. That is.
Oh, that
You can see
is
it all well.
x minus h squared plus y plus k squared, and then equals like r squared.
Exactly. Okay, this is the equation for a circle, and it will say graph the circle. So if you're like, how do I know it's a circle? It says circle. Yes.
Is there a way to blow it up?
Yeah, for sure. I hope. Actually, let's see. Hooray. Does that help?
Yes. So much better.
Perfect. That looks like a V. All right. I have to be all cognizant about what's... Okay, it's
Oh, is
fine.
that your iPad?
Well, look how standard the process is.
All right, so it says identify the center and the radius. Do y'all remember which ones are the center from this equation that we just made?
Is it the?
Wait, you're asking?
Oh, so it.
Oh, it's a 16, right?
16 is something.
No, the
16 is r squared.
R squared. What do y'all think out of center and radius, which one
4.
R is?
Radius.
Radius is R, right. Okay, so if R squared is 16, what is just R? 4, right? Like what squared is 16? 4. So we know the radius is 4. The center is always HK. This is maybe something that you could write on your note card if you think you're going to forget. So it's kind of the opposite signs because it's minus H and minus K. So our center here is going to be 2, -3. See how I changed the sign? It's just H, K. It's always opposite. This is like the last thing that we did that last week. Yeah. And all you're going to do is, I always start at the center and then I just move, with my radius. Yes?
Why are we changing the signs again?
That is based on the formula. It's always x minus h, y minus k. So whatever that value is your h. So your h is actually 2. X minus h is 2. So it's just positive 2. This is the same thing almost as like y minus -3. It's just how the formula is. You like input it in there and the formula already has a negative sign in there. Long story short, or if you think about it, you could think about it like solving it. That value's 2, that value's -3, however you want to think of it. But it's basically the opposite because of the negative in the formula. Hi. I don't know if that helps. No.
It's fine.
So our center's 2, -3. Now always go to -3. Do the center first, and then from your radius you can move up 4, down 4, over 4. I mean, from the center you can move your radius. And this is the thing that I'm really bad at.
Circle.
Yes, it's gonna look more like a
Oh,
something, a diamond, whatever.
It does look like a diamond.
So sorry about that. It's okay. I'm not gonna judge you as long as your points aren't like way out of the way. Bless you.
Oh my god.
So you could be asked to graph a circle. You could also be asked to write an equation. So the things that we found, now we're given, and we're gonna create an equation. You can write this equation on your note card, like I said, or I'm just gonna tell you, this is an example. I mean, it's similar to like this on your test. So you technically have the equation right here, just some things are gonna change, the center and the radius. So anyways, okay, so my center is -1, 0, so this is my HK. You can just change the sign, like I said, or you can literally plug them in. So x minus h is -1, y minus k is 0. Whoops. And the radius is 3. So see how it ends up being like the opposite sign, because it's like minus, and I plugged in my h, which is -1, minus a negative becomes x plus 1. So you could have skipped that step and just changed the sign from negative to positive, because that minus sign just changes everything. Y minus 0 is just y, so if you wanted to just put y squared, you could. You don't have to put y minus 0 squared. And then 3 squared is 9. So the hardest part, I think, with circles is the center. Is you've got to remember that it's basically the opposite sign. And then squaring the radius, or square rooting it if you're going the other way. Ask me, yes. Okay.
It'll come back.
Any other questions? So I'm going to just start this because maybe this is something you decide to write on your note card. It's up to you. If you write it on your note card, maybe write context, like the center is HK, the radius is R, whatever. So anyways, yeah. All right, if y'all have questions, I'm gonna keep going. Or wait, if you need me to, y'all can keep that, but questions on or doing math still.
So the way you got y squared was from the imaginary 1, right? So multiplying the 1 times.
The
See what
way
I'm
I
saying?
got
Or-
y squared was because I put this k in, this 0 value.
Right.
Just y minus 0 is just y. And then yeah, y squared is just y squared.
Right.
You could leave it as y minus 0 technically if you wanted to, but it just simplifies to y squared.
Alright.
Yeah, good question. Any other questions? Here's another formula you might want to write down. These are the two main formulas, really.
Distance formula.
Mm-hmm. Fun. We love the distance. Can you see this? Yes, you can. Do y'all remember how we found the distance formula?
It's with the 2 points.
Yeah.
So it would be square root.
Hello?
And
So it's derived from the Pythagorean theorem. So if you wanted to plot these points and draw a triangle on your paper, you could. Or you can use this formula. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And you'll be given 2 points, and it's like find the distance between these 2 points. And a lot of this is just organization. So maybe I call these first points x1, y1, and the second 2 points x2, y2. Doesn't matter which one you call which, just keep the ones together and the twos together. And I've even had people come over here and be like, okay, that means x1 is 2, y1 is -3, like whatever helps you stay organized, because after you get these, you're just going to plug them in the formula. Also, word of advice, it always helps to write out your work, because let's say you do something wrong in the calculator and you get the wrong answer, and that's the only thing you put. I'm not going to have anything to go off of, but if you at least write all this stuff out, I'll be like, okay, they knew what they were doing, maybe something just happened in the calculator. And yes, I will have calculators for you if you need it. Do you have a question?
so are like when we're trying to like label stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like if you put like the under the -1 and then under the 2, like in the parentheses, can you put like x2 and then y2, or no, like x2 and just kind of label your points underneath?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever helps you.
Okay.
Okay, y'all ask me if you've got questions. Like, how the heck did I throw all these numbers in here? Let me know if you've got questions. Why is something the way it is? Technically, you could probably put this in your calculator if you did it correctly and get the answer just like this. I like to simplify just in case, but I mean, you do you. -1 minus 2 is -3. 4 minus negative, that's positive 7 squared. I don't know. I always do this by hand, but again, you can do it in the calculator. -3 squared is 9. Plus 7 squared is 49. That's what, 57?
58.
Or you can put it in your calculator and get some weird decimal. I don't know what it is. You can leave it as a square root. If you put it in your calculator and get some weird decimal, I'll have that answer too.
You said you would.
So you can do it either way. Sometimes in your calculator, it'll do this and it'll only give you the square root. I don't know. So it's fine. Yeah. Questions? We can do this, right? We're gonna be okay. On your note card too, if you come across a problem and it's really hard, maybe you just put that problem on your note card. Like, you can literally put whatever you want on these note cards that you think will help you. So there's that. Number 13, does anyone know how we start these? We did this the first week after our last test. We did these and the rational things. How do we deal with this? There's just like one big thing that's in the way that we have to deal with.
The 4 minus x.
So you can't see the instructions up there. It says solve the equation. So we want to eventually get x by itself. But right now, this square root is making it really hard to do that. It's messing us up. Does anyone know how we get rid of a square root? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I don't know how long your hand was up, but you're like, over here. Yeah, you're going to square it. Exactly. We're going to square that side because it gets rid of it. But whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. When you square a square root, you're just left with the inside. No, that's not 4. Now, I see this happen all the time. People try to distribute the squared. If this is 4 minus x, it's the same thing as 4 minus x times 4 minus x. Something times itself. So we're going to end up foiling it. It's not like it distributes. This is harder than the other one if it makes you feel better. But there are one of each of these on your exam. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and FOIL. So 4 times 4 is 16.
That would be
Minus 4x, minus 4x. Negative x times negative x is x squared. Any thoughts on how to solve this? Oh, well, never mind. Pause. Any questions on how I got here? I can redo that. X times, 4 times 4, 4 times negative x times 4, negative x times negative x. Any thoughts on what to do next? Cool. Combine like terms, and yes, we are going to try to get that x by itself because we want to solve for x. Let's clean it up a little bit first. Yeah, let's combine the like terms. Now, when you say combine like terms, we do have some like terms over here that we could move. Yes.
Yeah, basically subtract.
Cool. So we're gonna subtract. You're exactly right. These two terms to the other side. The reason we have to do this is because this is an x squared, and it messes everything up. So y'all are right. I'm gonna subtract the x and subtract the 2. I'm gonna rewrite that because we're not used to seeing it like that. It's all good. I can change the way it looks. I'm not changing anything else. I'm just putting the x squared in front. Does anyone remember when we have an x squared term, what we can do to break it apart? Okay, so if we square rooted it, okay, yes. If it was just x squared, absolutely. But if we square root this whole thing, then it's kind of hard to like.
Oh, we have to factor that.
Yeah, we can factor it. Sorry, I'm so bad at looking.
It's okay.
Just yell it out. Yes, y'all are right. So we're gonna factor it. We're gonna break it up. So first times last, 1 times 14. What are factors of 14 that equal negative 9?
7.
Cool, so 7 and 2 normally would equal positive 9, so you're exactly right. Negative 7 times negative 2 still gives me positive 14, but add together to be negative 9. You don't have to do the box method or anything like that, and you won't have to on your exam, because there is a 1 in front of the x squared. So what does x equal? 7 and 2, exactly. If we set the x equals to 0 and solved, we'd get 7 and 2.
Why wouldn't they be negative 7 and 10?
Great question. So because it's in terms of factors, I can set them both equal to 0
Oh, you gotta set them down.
and solve, and then yeah, you'll basically always end up getting the opposite sign. Good question. I can check these answers. I can plug in a 7, I can plug in a 2, and they both work. So I'm good to go. Or if you're like, I really don't think I did that right. If you plug it back in and get something that makes sense, that equals each other, you're like, all right. You know, pop the collar. I did it.
There is gonna be a bonus question on our third test, right? Okay.
This is hidden bonus question for you.
I'm sworn to secrecy
On number,
by the person who made it.
on number 12, you know how you have second to the square root?
Mm-hmm.
Do you include negative 1?
No, that's a great question. You need to move it to the other side first. Anyone still working on 13? Okay, 12's not so bad. We're gonna do the same thing that we just did, but we've got a negative 5 over here. And I'm just gonna tell you, if you try to square it, right now, it's gonna make everything really gross. You're gonna have to foil that. Ew. It just, yeah, no. You don't wanna do that. So, what we can do is we can get rid of this 5 and then square it and make our lives a lot easier. So, I'm gonna move the 5 to the other side. This one's nicer. So I'd be left with square root of 2x plus 3 equals 5. All right, now, like we did earlier, to get rid of the square root, we can square it. And when you square a square root, you're left with 2x plus 3 equals, and then just simplify the other side.
25.
No x's, hallelujah, we just have numbers, so equals 25. Perfect. This one's better. Now what to solve for x?
Minus 3.
Yep, move that 3 to the other side. So let's see, we'd be left with 2x equals 22.
It's my age.
Nice. And then what? Almost done?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. X equals 11. I cannot make a triangle, that's not a triangle, a rectangle to save my life, and I'm sorry. It's very crooked. There are examples like this on a test, and if you're like, hey, that's not bad, be like, you know, starring whatever you need to start to make sure that you know how to do that the day of the test, because it's not horrible, but you might get to the test and be like, what do I have to do again? How do I get rid of this thing? Just square it. Square root, it goes away.
There's probably like 3 or 3.
There's definitely at least 2. Can't remember, 2 to 3. This is the same one. I'm not gonna do it just for time's sake. We can come back to it if we need to. It's the same thing though. The 6 is already by itself, so you'd square both sides and be done with it. Yay. Go us. Questions? Got this. Okay, so that was like the first-ish part of the stuff that we learned. And then remember later on that week, oh no, never mind. We did this last week. Trying to do it in terms of time, but oh well. This was the stuff when we set up those equations and we tried to figure out what the heck. And this is context with it, word problem. This is the one I did with Starbucks when we went to Starbucks and spent all that money on pastries and Starbucks drinks. So, same thought process. You go to McDonald's and spend 100, the answers that go with this too are so extremely high for hamburgers, and sorry about it in advance. Okay, you go to McDonald's and spend $188 on 7 hamburgers and 11 chicken nuggets. Your friend goes to McDonald's and spends $236 on 13 hamburgers and 11 chicken nuggets. Set up a system of equations. What's the cost of hamburgers and chicken nuggets?
Okay, so it would be 7H.
So yeah, you can use X and Y like we have been, or you can use H and C for hamburgers and chicken nuggets. It's all good. So yeah, go ahead.
So 7H plus 11C equals 188.
Okay, so that's our first situation. We spend way too much money on this food. 7 hamburgers and 11 chicken nuggets cost us $188. And then our friend goes and spends even more money. And I'm gonna do this one in green. So what would this one be?
13H plus 11C equals $236.
Perfect. So we spend way too much money again. Well, our friend does. How dare they? And this is the system of equations. When it says set up a system of equations, that is it. Like, you did it. Go you. Sometimes it had that little squiggly mark with it. But the second part says, what is the cost of a hamburger and a chicken nugget? And don't be like, I know at McDonald's it's $2.95. Because it's different, right? We go to the fancy McDonald's or something like that because it's really expensive. So we need to figure out what H and C are respectively. And does anyone remember how we do that?
You take one of the equations, right? Or whichever is easier.
Sure. So you can do substitution or elimination. I think you can do either or. You'll come up with the same answer. I think elimination is a little easier here just because if you look at like you said, look at the one that's easier. The chicken nuggets, we both got 11 chicken nuggets. I don't know why. And if I can eliminate one of these variables, then my life's a lot easier. So what is the opposite of positive 11?
Negative.
Negative 11. So I need to somehow make one of these negative. It does not matter which one. Yeah. So I'll just do this one, I guess. So to make this negative, what do I need to multiply by? Negative 1, right? It's already 11. We're good there. We just need to multiply by negative. When you multiply a negative 1, it multiplies everything by negative 1. So negative 7h negative 11c equals negative 188. We didn't do anything to the second one. 13h, positive 11c, positive 236. Does anyone remember what we do next?
Wouldn't you get rid of the 11?
How do we do that though? You're right.
Like,
Yeah, we crossed it out and we just like add them. So we're adding. We get, let's see, negative 7h plus 13h is 6. And that's something, who knows what?
negative 188.
48. So what we've done is we've gotten rid of the chicken nuggets. We just have hamburgers. Now how do we solve for H? Divide, right? We're gonna divide by 6. Told you this is unrealistic. I'm sorry. Hamburgers are $8 each.
Now you go back and plug it in.
Sure, okay, so once we have one variable, we can plug it back in. Does not matter which one you plug it back into. Either or is fine. So I'll go to this one. 13h. Instead of H, I now know hamburgers are $8. I'm never going back. Plus 11c equals 236. Whatever that is. Oh, I did it in the other one. Oh well. What's 13 times 8?
104.
Thank you. And then move the 104, whatever 236 is minus 104.
236. 132.
Thank you. And then divide that by 11 and you're done.
12.
And chicken nuggets cost $12, so that makes sense. I know, I'm sorry. I should have done like, I don't know, trees or something, but I'm always hungry and I'm always talking about food, so sorry. It is what it is.
I mean, that's what you're.
Oh yeah, this is at Six Flags. Good, there you go. There's the context. This, in my opinion, is as hard as it gets because you have to set it up versus some of the other ones. Maybe I just give you a system and you have, like, maybe I already give you this and you just have to solve. So let me know if you've got questions like, how did we get this? How did we get rid of C? Anything like that.
I guess you're always hungry because
So-
you're pregnancy.
Like whenever you're starting to solve, you, based on preference, you can choose whichever equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once we got our hamburger, then it doesn't matter whichever one. to
No,
do.
even on my key, I actually used this one. I plugged 8 back in. That's why I had her do all that math because I didn't even know what it was. But yeah, and I still got.
You would've got the same answer. For
Mhm. Exactly. Good questions. Yeah, either or is totally fine. And if you're really like, I don't know if I did it right, you can plug in it in both and make sure you get the same answer just to be super safe.
You
So
get double the credit.
no, but I'll be like, good job. I'll put a stamp on it if you want. I've got stamps. I never get to use them anymore. Yeah, good question.
Why don't you get to use them?
I don't know. College students don't seem to like them as much as my high schoolers did. But hey, I don't know. I'm trying not to judge. All right. This next test, you'll see. You'll see. All right.
It's like a grade two, it's just like
Like,
I have a star stamp. I do, and it says super on it. So be ready for it. You can. So I just want you to know that I will give you. I'll do 2. I'll give you. Oh, that formatted weird. Sorry about that. I'll give you something like this on your test, and I'll say solve. Okay, great. So you're like, what does that mean? Solve for x and y. You can do this one of 3 ways. You can do it graphically, which I think is arguably one of the harder ways, or you can do it with elimination or substitution. It does not matter. That's why I just say solve the system. I'm not specific. It's however you want to do it. If you solve it graphically, you'll have to plot the lines and figure out where they cross. There's one way. I think it's the harder way. Or you can use the elimination or substitution method. The elimination method is the one that we just did, which I think is the easiest. But what was your question, Peg?
Why'd you go from 22 to 2?
Because I don't know how to count. Sorry.
It's okay.
Can we solve it?
What?
Are we gonna solve it?
We are. Here we go. Okay. 4x minus 6y equals 12. 2x plus 2y equals 6. So let's say you do elimination method again. Looking at the x's and the y's, which one would be, you can choose either, but which one would be easier to work with?
Second.
Sorry, Sam. Can't see that. Oh well. Try my best. Yeah, sure, we can do the second one. Second or third's totally fine. So let's do second. So if we have -6 and 2, I'm thinking to myself, the smaller one, 2 times what can give me 6?
-3. Oh, to get
It's
6.
3, right? And why am I doing 6 though, and not -6? If I did -6 minus 6 is -12, so they don't cancel each other out. So we always do the opposite. -6 and +6, so they cancel each other out. Exactly. And you'll know, like, if you get the wrong sign and they don't cross out, then just change the signs and you'll be good to go. So I'm gonna rewrite this. The first one we didn't touch. The second one we multiply by 3. You're trying to eliminate the y's. If you wanted to eliminate the x's, you'd multiply by -2. You can go about it either way. Okay, 6x plus 6y equals 18. We're multiplying 3 by everything.
Cross out.
And if they don't, then you're like, what did I do? But if they do cross out, hooray. Move on with your life. And then add the x's, so we've got 10x equals 30.
And then divide by 2.
Exactly, divide by 10,
3.
x equals 3, hooray.
And then plug it in.
And then plug it in. I'm trying, Sam, there we go. Doesn't matter which one you plug it in, whatever. I'll just pick the first one. Just because I don't want him to feel neglected. We multiplied the second one by 3, so. Alright, so plug in 3 for x. 12 minus 6y equals 0. Oh, no, sorry, I did that in my head. That's not good. Move the 12 and then it'll be 0. Sorry. Okay, here's the thing. Because I remember, well, hopefully you remember, if we, and you can go back and look at those notes, if we cancel out variables completely, like that's when maybe we get no solution or all real numbers. This isn't that. We still have a y, like the y's haven't gone away. We can still divide by -6. And what's 0 divided by -6? That's just 0. Don't be like, oh, we got a 0. That means it doesn't exist. Your answer can be 0. That's totally fine. You can write your answers as x equals, y equals. You can write it as a coordinate pair. Long story short, if I were to graph these lines, 3, 0, whatever they look like, 3, 0 is where they cross. Bless you. I don't even know what those lines look like, but and you don't have to represent it graphically at all. I'm just over emphasizing kind of what it means. Yeah.
And you would have to plot it, right?
No, you don't have to.
Oh,
You can. This isn't even on your exam. Again, I'm just over emphasizing kind of what it means. As your final answer, you can write it as a coordinate pair. You can write it x equals 3, y equals 0, be done with it. Just different ways to represent it. Good questions. Any other questions? let's do, again, I wanna get to the rationals for sure. So if we skip one, you're like, I really wanna do it.
I do have a really quick question.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be one with the fractions?
No.
No, okay.
They look like this mostly.
Alright.
X, Y equals something. Good question. Try to set up this stuff. More food. And you don't have to graphically solve it. You can do it graphically if you want. You can do it through elimination, substitution, any of the ones that we've learned. I'm not specific on the exam. So at Hamburger Haven, Tom buys 3 hamburgers and 2 fries for $14. Sue buys 1 hamburger and 4 fries for $8. This is more like it. Write a system of equations and solve. So I'm gonna give you a second to at least set it up, and if you wanna try to solve it, go for it.
Is there like an equation I can go by, like, to frame it? Or is it just by knowledge?
I would just group them, like Tom's situation and Sue's situation.
I'm guessing like, I don't know how to set it up at all.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so,
Like, would money go for quantity?
it doesn't matter. I would just do it in the same order. So, what I mean by that is, if we know Tom buys 3 hamburgers, so 3 of those plus 2 French fries equals $14. You could have as easily written that 14 equals 3H plus 2F. However you do the first one, do the second one the same way because it'll make your life so much easier.
So it'd be like 1 plus 4 equals 8.
Yep. And then if you get that, great. If not, you could always be like, I got 3 hamburgers and 2 French fries. Oh my gosh. And it equals $14. And then that's the same thing as 3H plus 2F if you really wanted to do it that way. But yeah.
And then it's the same thing as the other ones?
Mhm.
Elimination.
So which one would be easy to work with? H or F? H because there's a 1 there. Anytime you've got a 1, you're like, hallelujah. So, we need this to become a what?
3, negative 3.
3. Negative 3. Because it's opposite of 3. So, what do I need to multiply this whole thing by?
Negative 3.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So we're not doing anything to the top equation. And the bottom equation, we're multiplying the whole thing by negative 3. The whole thing. People forget to do the equal sign all the time. They always just put 8 again, and it messes everything up. So make sure to multiply that as well. Did I do that right? I was talking negative 3, negative 12, negative 24. Okay. And then you know you did it right if stuff starts canceling. Let's see. Negative 10, sorry. And then we can divide by negative 10. This can also kind of help you check your signs. Negative 10 divided by negative 10 is 1. If I forgot this negative 10, 10 divided by negative 10 would have been negative 1, and French fries doesn't really make sense for them to cost negative $1. So you'd be like,
That's pretty cheap for it.
No solution.
Yeah, you're like, nope, can't do it. Sorry, I'm done.
It's for free.
Okay, and then you can plug that in. I'm gonna plug it into this one just because there's a 1H. Life's easier here.
The Ferrari. What was the name of the movie?
Oh, bedtime stories.
Huh?
Bedtime stories.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that movie is so good.
Oh.
Actually, looking back, it was terrible.
Any Adam Sandler movie I can watch.
Jack and Jill.
He's gone downhill.
What? No, Uncut Gems is pretty good though. You can't even.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's a good.
I'll give it a chance.
But yeah.
Wait, I think I see what you did. Wait, she said, you said Jack and Jill.
Okay,
She said
Sam,
she's
we
not-
are to the point
He said-
where
he said he's not that good.
we worked on the first page now, so I'm gonna stop recording.